So my dear children, here we are with the cash flow statement chapter here. After discussing the format of the cash flow statement, now we are going to deal with some special items and its treatment in case of the cash flow statement. Okay, so go through this video properly, carefully. Then after that, you are supposed to submit an assignment based on this very particular video. The link for which is sent in your YouTube description box, and as well as you will get it in your class WhatsApp group as well. So here in this very particular video, we are going to discuss about some special important items and its treatment, how it will be dealt in case of the cash flow statement. So children, you know what is this cash flow statement and why we are making up this cash flow statement. So cash flow statement is actually an analysis of the past events, or it's an analysis of the past cash transactions of the business to check it whether the present available cash and cash equivalents is equal to that of the activities, cash related activities which we carried out in case of the business. So for this very purpose, we used to pick up the three important activities which is related to the business. That's what we call it as operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. Because in case of any business concern, these activities are the general activities which results to the cash inflow and outflow of the business. So therefore, here we are with the first, we need to discuss about what is the term cash and cash equivalent stands for. So the term cash and cash equivalents, basically it mean all those items generally which are just like a cash, means in the form of a cash in hand or at the cash in bank, or they are the liquid instruments, we can say that, which can be immediately or readily convertible into the form of a cash. So both these things together are treated at the same level in case of the cash flow statement. So the first cash and cash equivalents example we can take it here is, that is the cash in hand. The next, checks and drafts on hand. And next is the short-term investments, which can also be called as our current investments as well, or it can also be referred as marketable securities too. And now the next few more examples for the cash and cash equivalents is, that is the short-term deposits with the bank, or we can say in the same, the current investments as well, the same name. The next is treasury bills, commercial paper, and the preference shares if it is redeemable within the time span of the 3 months. So these are the some instruments which we can take it here as, that is the cash and cash equivalents. The detailing of the treasury bills and commercial paper, you will be studying it later, so therefore I'm not discussing it right now. But as far as this chapter is concerned, you should know that what are the items are there which is included under the cash and cash equivalents. Now the next year we are going to discuss about, that is, what are the some business transactions which is taking place in case of a business, due to which the inflow outflow, or at times there is no flow of the cash takes place. So let us understand first the transactions based on which the business can have the inflow of the cash and outflow of the cash, or sometimes the transaction, though it's been carried out, but still it does not lead to any kind of the no flow in case of the business, that is no flow of the cash. So therefore, let's see, the first is issue of the bonus shares. Issue of bonus shares stands for, the company is issuing extra shares to its existing shareholders, maybe in the form of a bonus, or maybe in order to increase the goodwill amongst them. So therefore, for this very purpose, the company is not charging them, or they're not supposed to pay any amount in lieu of it. So hence, issue of the bonus shares, if we will take, it will result in no flow. So children, what is the treatment of the cash issue of the bonus shares? We won't be doing anything with that of the bonus shares in case of the cash flow statement, basically because it results to no flow of the cash. The second item here it comes is, that is the buyback of equity shares. So buyback of equity shares means the company is purchasing its own equity shares in the market. Instead of somebody else purchasing, the company is purchasing its own equity shares in the market. So just it's been paying for it. So it results in the outflow of the cash it results in the outflow of the cash, but actually you can say this thing, no outsider is interfering into this very particular matter. Okay, so buyback of equity share, it will result in case of the outflow of the cash. The reasons for the buyback of equity shares is like if this company does not want to lose its control over it, or it does not want to go for the dilution of a control. In such circumstances, or in these circumstances, the company can opt for these buyback of equity shares. The next is purchase of marketable securities for cash. So we have already seen, that is just in the previous slide, that is a purchase of marketable securities is equivalent to that of the cash and cash equivalents. So here it means that is the purchase will result no effect, because the one medium of the marketable securities has been converted into the cash. Means in within the cash and cash equivalents, the transfer is taking place. Means the marketable securities, which is already a cash equivalence, is being converted into the form of a cash. Hence, the same items which is transferred into the other form within the items of the cash and cash equivalents will result to no change. So there is no outflow and inflow of the cash. Hence, the answer for number 3 option is no effect in case of the cash. Next, the fourth here is redemption of debentures. So children, let us understand what the term redemption stands for. Redemption stands for repayment. As you know that the company acquires the debentures from the debenture holders. Debentures is generally an acknowledgement of a debt, isn't it? It's actually a type of a long-term loan. So which the company is taking it. So therefore it becomes the company's responsibility as well to repay it also. So whenever the company repay the amount of the debentures, definitely repayment means it result to the outflow of the cash. Now the next, here we can see the point number 5 is cash received from trade receivables rupees 9,000 and discount allowed 1,000. Sorry. So you know that the cash received from trade receivables is how much? 9,000. Okay, so we need to pay attention to the fact that how much of the cash we are receiving. So we are receiving the cash here. That is how much? That is 9,000. Hence, cash received, simply from the statement it is clear that is it's actually a inflow of the cash, because the cash value is increasing, but actually they are clearly specifying received. So hence we need not to take discount anywhere in this. We are assuming that the discount is already deducted from the amount, and that's why we received 9,000. The next is shares issued for cash. Children, that is the company issues the shares as a source of the finance whenever it is in need of money or whenever it is in need of finance. So in such a situation, issuing of the shares means actually the keeping or presenting the shares in front of the public, so therefore they can buy it. So hence when the public buys, it means that it results into the inflow of the cash. So therefore the sixth the effect here will be, in case of the sixth transaction, is it will result to the inflow of the cash. So children, let's go through once again. Issue of the bonus shares will result to no flow. Buyback of equity shares, it result to the outflow of the cash. Got it? And the purchase of the marketable securities for cash, if you will talk about, that is it result to that of no effect, no flow. You can say redemption of debentures, it result to outflow. Cash received is inflow. Cash received from trade receivables is inflow, and shares issued for cash, you can say that even it is also a inflow of the cash. Now the next other few item which we are going to discuss here is writing of bad debts against the provision for doubtful debts. So children, you may be knowing about it. Why do we create the provision for bad and doubtful? Bad debts means what? That is actually a part of the debtors which fails to make the payment. Am I right? Or from the debtors from which we are not able to receive the payment is what we call it as a bad debts. So therefore the company, in order to cope up this future losses, the company already takes up the preventive measure. So this preventive measure which the company takes up is what we call it as a creation of the provisions. Means provisions are the amount which is set aside out of the profit for some specific purpose. So or what does this transaction mean? We had a bad debts, and so therefore it is set off from the value of the provision for bad and doubtful debts. So in such a situation, the effect for this in this very particular case is, if we will talk about about it won't result in case of any cash transaction. So answer for this is no flow of cash transactions, because already amount or already the provision which is created, out of that it has been set off. So it won't result into neither an inflow nor an outflow. So answer for this transaction in case of the cash flow statement is what? It result to the no flow. Next here it comes is the declaration of dividend. So children, declaration of a dividend, don't get confused with the term it's only declaration. See, because there is a rule in case of an interim dividend. Interim dividends are those dividends generally which the company declares as well as pays within the financial year. Okay, like it's generally been declared in the 6 monthly duration. So the basically the rule here it comes is, if the company declares the interim dividend, then it has to be paid within the 5 days. Okay, then it has to be paid within the 5 days. So declaration of interim dividend, basically it means that is actually it result to the outflow. Okay, the declaration of the interim dividend means it result to the outflow, because it is assumed either the span of the 5 days or 7 days that the company has to pay the dividend to its shareholders. It cannot hold it back for the longer duration. That's the reason we say the declaration of the interim dividend, that means what? It result to the outflow. The next here it comes is cash deposited into bank. So cash deposited into bank stands for, here your cash in hand has been converted into the form of the cash at bank. Means it's a movement in the cash and cash equivalents. So when it comes as the movement in the cash and cash equivalents, so definitely it won't result in case of any outflow or any inflow. Hence the answer for this transaction is no flow. Next here it comes is the sale of current investments for cash. So children, you know, we have already seen the current investments is also a part of cash and cash equivalents. So the current investment selling off means the same form of the current investment is converted into that of the sale. So this is again a movement in the cash and cash equivalents. So definitely it won't result any kind of the inflow and outflow. You know, the answer for this is no flow of the cash. So we have gone through all the items, you know, so let us actually quickly review the answers again. So the answer for the 7th is it won't create any kind of effect in the cash flow statement. So no flow. The declaration of the interim dividend, you know that it is an outflow of the cash. The cash deposited into bank, if you can say this thing, that actually it won't bring any kind of an effect in the cash flow statement, because it's actually a movement in the cash and cash equivalents. Same transaction number 10, you know, that is the answer here is, that is the no flow of the cash, or we can say no effect as well. Now, the next here we are going to discuss some important transactions and its effect in case of the operating, investing and financing activities of the cash flow statement. So we are going to discuss about whether these transactions can be classified as the operating, investing or financing activities. So the first transaction here is, that is the cash sales. So children, in case of any type of a business organization, whether it is a financial organization or a non-financial, you know, that is the cash sales refers to a operating activity. You know, operating means it's basically related to the core nature of the business. So here the cash sales is basically a operating activity. And next here it comes as the second one is cash received from trade receivables. So cash received from trade receivables basically stands for what? That is actually we are receiving the amount from the debtors. That's what it means. So hence, you know that the treatment for the trade receivables is already we have seen, it is categorized under the operating activities under the head, you know, that is actually the decrease or increase in the current assets. We are having that one head under that. Okay, so there we are taking up all the current assets which generally result into the inflow of the cash or the outflow of the cash. So cash received from trade receivables is a operating activity. Next is purchase of building. So children, this purchase of the building is an investing activities. We have seen already the investing activities means those activities which results to the inflow and outflow of the cash into the business, you know, due to the acquisition or due to the buying of the fixed assets or the investments, or due to the selling of the fixed assets or investments, is treated as to be the investing activities. Hence purchase of building means building is a fixed assets. So if you are purchasing up a building, so basically it means what? That is an outflow of a cash. So it will be shown in the cash flow statement under the heading investing activities as a less item. Less means it will be coming under the subtraction or a minus category. The reason, because it leads to outflow of the cash. So sale of the building, it's reverse. Again, it will be shown in the investing activities and as a plus. Next, issue of share capital or debentures. So children, we have already seen issue of shares or anything which changes the composition of the capital structure of the company, or any of the item which is related to the source of the finance of the company is the one generally which will be shown under the heading financing activities. Okay, remember children. So issue of the share capital or the debentures means it's a source of the finance only. Hence the issue of the share capital means inflow of the cash, because the shareholders will be paying to the company as the company is issuing the shares, as they are purchasing it or as they are buying it. So definitely issue of the share capital or debentures means it's a part of a financing activity, as there is an inflow of the cash. So under the heading financing activity, it will be added. Next is the buyback of equity shares. So buyback of equity shares, again the term, if we will talk about, buyback is being used and shares is being used. So definitely, I mean, it's a part of the financing activity only. Okay, it's a part of the financing activity. The next is dividend paid. So children, let us understand the term dividend paid. What does it mean? Dividend paid term comes if the company has, issued its shares, or you can say that if the company has taken up the money from the shareholders in the form of the shares. So hence it has to pay in return to the shareholders. What? That is the dividend. So we can say that the dividend paid is what we call it as, it is called as the financing activities, because this dividend paid, or even if it comes an interest paid, it means actually we have taken up the source, any of the source of the finance. That is the reason, as a cost of the debt, we are supposed to pay what? Either the interest or the dividend. Hence dividend paid is what? Dividend paid is a part of a financing activity, as it's an outflow of a cash, so it has to be deducted in the financing activity. So children, there is one more effect of it. You can see it here while making the operating activities. When we are under the operating activities section, when we are there to calculate the operating profit before working capital changes, under the heading non-operating expenses, under that also this dividend paid is being added there. So we can say this dividend paid and interest paid, though dividend paid and interest paid by nature, it is treated as financing activities, but while making a cash flow statement, you can see it has got the two effect. The first effect is it is added as a non-operating expenses under the heading operating activities. The second effect is it is shown in the financing activities as a outflow of the cash. That's why it is subtracted or it is deducted. Okay, so now the next is we are going to discuss about here is what we call it as sum of few items. Here it comes as interest paid on debentures. Okay children, now see, interest paid is the same, just we discussed earlier, but remember there is a term mentioned here is interest paid on debentures by finance company. Okay, so finance company, in case of the finance company, this interest paid is referred to its operating activity. Okay children, the reason is because the finance company's basic activity or their core business activities related to lending and borrowing of the funds, or you can say that the lending and borrowing of the shares, debentures and etc., or loans etc. So in such a situation, interest paid, and if it's a finance company, it will be its operating activity. The next transaction is about interest paid on long-term loan by non-finance company. So children, in case of a non-finance company, its treatment will be what? It will be treated as a financing activity. Remember this. Now the next is office expenses, and the 11th item is selling and distribution expenses. The 12th item is manufacturing expenses. Children, these three expenses, as we have seen already in the ratios chapter, they are treated as to be what? Especially the office expenses and selling and distribution expenses are treated as to be the operating expenses. When we talk about office expenses, selling and distribution expenses, manufacturing expenses, so clearly evident that it is basically related to the core nature of the business or they are the basic revenue producing activities. Hence, office expenses and selling and distribution expenses are operating activities for any type of a company. If we take up an example of a finance company, whether we take up an example of a service sector company, whether we are taking up an example of any non-finance company collectively, in that particular case, this office expenses and selling and distribution expenses, if we will talk about, they are the common item which is referred to as the operating activities in any form or in any type of the business organization. Okay, so office expenses here, it can include the salary of an employee, you know, and the different other expenses generally which we can sort it out relating to the office will be coming under this category. Same, next is the manufacturing expenses, very clear as it's related to the basic revenue producing activity of the business. So hence the manufacturing expenses is also a purely operating activity of the business. Now next here it comes is the purchase of goodwill. So children, let us understand what does this concept purchase of goodwill mean and how we can identify it in case of the cash flow statement. See, in case of the goodwill, there can arise the two concepts. One is when the value of the goodwill reduces. Reduces stands for, suppose if I take an example, in 2018 the value of the goodwill is 20,000 and in 2019 let us assume the value of the goodwill is 16,000. Okay, so in 2080 you can say that what is actually the value, like in case of the previous year the value of the goodwill is 20,000 and in the current year the value of the goodwill is 16,000. So you can find it, if you'll compare it with that of the previous year, there is a decline of 4,000. So similarly, if the value decreases, it will be called as a goodwill written off. And when the goodwill written off is there, so it is treated as a non-operating expenses. So when it is treated as a non-operating expenses means where it will be shown, under the heading operating activities. Purchase of goodwill basically stands for, let us take a reverse situation, means your previous year's value is 20,000. Okay, your previous year's value is 20,000 and your current year's value is 25,000. So you can see there is an increase of 5,000. Okay, previous year 20,000 and current year is 25,000. So you can find in comparison to that of the previous year, there is an increase in the value of the goodwill with 5,000. So such situation is referred to as a purchase of goodwill. So remember children, purchase of the goodwill stands for means like actually it's a investing activity, it's a inflow, you can say, I mean, you know, it's a benefit, not exactly an inflow, it's a benefit for a firm. So it's actually a investing activity. So definitely purchase of the goodwill will be shown in case of an investing activity of the cash flow statement when we are making, and if the value of the goodwill decreases, it will be called as written off. So hence it will be shown in case of the operating activities and shown as what, either the goodwill amortized or the goodwill written off. Now the next here, the item we are going to discuss here, few more items are there. The one is the sale of patents. So children, the sale of patents, if you will talk about, similar to that of an, it's a sale of the intangibles like that of a goodwill, it will be the investing activities. Okay, and next here is purchase of investments, very clear. It will be that is actually a part of the investing activity only, and but purchases means outflow, so it will be deducted, and you know the 14th number sale of patents means it will be added because it would result to the inflow of the cash. Next is the sale of investments by non-finance company, even it's again a part of the investing activity. Okay, sale basically refers to inflow of the cash, so it will be added. The next is the commission and the royalty received. So any commission and the royalty received in the absence of any specific information, we will be treating it as to be a operating activity. It will be shown under the heading operating, non-operating income. It's there, you know, there we can show it here as the commission and the royalty received. The next is interest received by non-finance company. So interest received by the non-finance company, if we will talk about, it is actually a investing activities, because we will be getting interest or dividend only when we are investing into the either the shares of the company or when we have, you know, given the loan to someone else, then only we will be receiving the interest. So in such a situation, interest received by the non-finance company, if it has been given, so it is our investing activities by nature. But if we will make a cash flow statement, you can see the effect of this even in one more section of the cash flow statement, that is under the operating activities. It is deducted as non-operating income as well. Hence, interest received has got actually two aspects in the though by nature it is an investing activities, but it is shown twice in the cash flow statement. One under the operating activities, we will be showing it under the heading as a deduction, as a non-operating income, and the next we will be showing in case of an investing activities, as it will be added as a investing activities there. Now the next after that we are going to discuss about the just last few items remaining. What then? That is income tax paid. So income tax paid, basically it means that is actually what all the activities which has been taken place in case of the firm, on that the tax payable or the tax to be paid is income tax paid. The treatment for the income tax paid is, it is shown under the heading last part of the operating activities as a deduction. So income tax refund received, if it is there. So children, how we will be dealing? Refund means we have made up a provision for making the payment of the income tax, but that is, the provision is more in comparison to that of the tax paid. So therefore the refund which we have received, definitely it reduces the value of the income tax. So suppose if we are having a provision for tax in the question, so from the provision for tax we need to deduct the refund received, and the remaining amount will be shown in case of the cash flow statement as a deduction. So remember, both these, that is income tax paid and income tax refund received, both are shown in the operating activities. Now the next is bank balance. So bank balance, already we have discussed this. This bank balance is an item of the cash and cash equivalents. They are neither shown in the operating, investing and financing. Directly its treatment will be done at the end and at the last as what? As the cash and cash equivalents. Rent received, again it has got a two effects. One, basically by nature rent received and investing activities. Okay children, but while showing it in the cash flow statement, it has got the two effect. One is in case of an operating income, it is deducted in the operating activity section. Just go through the format of the cash flow statement. You will be very clearly, you can identify which section I'm talking about. And next second effect for the rent received is it will be added in the investing activities. Okay, I'm repeating. The first is rent received. The first effect in the cash flow statement will be what? It will be shown in the heading operating activities as a deduction under the heading non-operating income. And next effects of it is what? That it will be shown in the investing activities as plus item, means it will be added there because of the inflow of the cash. Short-term deposits with the bank, again it's an item of what? It's an item of, that is the cash and cash equivalents. And the next year it comes as interest paid on bank overdraft or cash credit. Okay, it means actually it's an interest paid on the short-term borrowings, and in other words we can say, so this interest paid on bank overdraft or cash credit, again children, that it's a purely a financing activity, but you can find or you can get its effect in the non-operating expenses as well under the heading operating activities. So these are the some very few items and its treatment in case of the cash flow statement. Hope it is clear to you. In case of any doubts, we can discuss it in the online class. The assignment is appended with that of the video. Kindly get this assignments done and do submit it on time, because your assignment will be opening just exactly by 7:30, and by tomorrow evening, by tomorrow 11 o'clock, you can just fill up this assignment. You can complete this assignment and you can submit, and automatically after the time span, this assignment will be closed. So I hope so that this video is very clear to you. So therefore, see you in the online class. Any doubts, if it is there, that will be resolved over there. So children, thanks for watching this. Take up this seriously and study well and prepare well for your board exams.